Hello, everyone. This is Tamar Boone, your host for the National Society of Black Engineers Twin Cities Professional Chapter, or NSBE TCPC for short. I am the current program's chair and your host for our fourth episode of the podcast. Now, before we begin, we have to recite the National Society of Black Engineers mission, which is to increase the number of culturally responsible Black engineers who excel academically, succeed professionally, and positively impact the community. And I will introduce our guest, who is our current president. Uh, for those that don't know, every cycle we typically have a cycle being the school year from September to about May. So our previous president, Raymond Sisberg, completed his year. And for our chapter, you're only allowed to be president for 2 years in a row, and he completed his 2 years. So now we have our new president, which is Bailey Hadnott. Uh, Hello, Bailey. Well, we'll wait for her to join the room real quick. Hello, Bailey. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So just gave a little brief introduction as our new president of our chapter. But I'd like you to have you introduce kind of what you do overall as far as jobs and kind of explain what your vision is for our chapter this year.
Okay. Yeah. So I work at a company called Bar Engineering. I've been there for 5 years. My degree is in environmental engineering from University of Iowa, and then I moved here for my current job. I'm also currently in graduate school for my master's degree for environmental engineering, and I've been involved with NSBE since I moved here. I was first the PCI chair, so pre-collegiate initiative, where I kind of worked on more like robotics stuff. And then I became the collegiate initiative chair where I did more like the mentoring program, and then the programs chair where I was involved in like all those things, kind of like overseeing all those things. And took kind of a break while I focused on school. And now I'm kind of back to be president and run the chapter.
A
Yeah,
I like the upward movement
yeah,
within
definitely.
Nesby. Started one of the chairs, became program chair, which is my position now, and now
Yep.
you're president. I love it. I love it.
I want, yeah, start from the bottom and then now I'm
Yeah, exactly.
top. I don't know.
So
But yeah, I guess my vision, I mean, so we have our meeting actually on Wednesday to discuss things as a team, but like my vision, I've always been like one that wants to like get more involved in the community, like wants to have NSBE be a recognized name in the community for Black kids. Honestly, like I want people to be able to look at us as an example, as like a resource, as inspiration of, okay, Black engineers do exist. I can be that in 10, 12 years. That's my goal. That's my impact I want to make from a chapter perspective. And like as far as like for professionals, I mean, we have a really strong mentorship program. Want to keep building on that. We did really great last year with like the COVID pandemic with Ray, and then they got scholarships. I want to continue on that. But just like keep building from what we already have, but also like add more of a community focus in that. I guess is my plan. But we'll see like what the board wants also this year. It's not up to me. It's not my decision. So no, I'm very collaborative. So I want to go with that.
yep, no, that's a great vision. I'm also very community oriented, focused type person too, which is
Yeah.
kind of why I chose kind of being in the programs, wanted to be in a program zone, so you can have a little bit more impact on kind of what your based on what your position is, kind of on a community focus. So I was a PCI chair, I think during when you were the programs chair.
Yep. You were. Yeah.
Yep. So I was, dealing with all the little kiddos with the with the robotics too. So that was fun. And now, I'm programs chair.
Yeah.
Uh, so um, as a Nesby president, so like, what does Nesby mean to you, like individually?
That's a good question. So I feel like when I was in college, I went to University of Iowa, so primarily white school. I never even like heard of NSB. And I think my sophomore year, I realized that it was like a thing. And I was like, this is incredible. Like there's a room full of Black people that love science. Like I've never seen it before in my life. So for me, it was kind of like a safe space. It was like I was being validated of like, okay, like yes, you're an engineer. Yes, you're Black. You can be both. And like I'd never seen that in my life prior to college. And so like to be involved in it now like, as a professional, I want to be able to give that back to either college students or like high school students or like middle school students. To just like create that space for Black joy and creativity and like science all in the same place. Like that's always been just the combination of those three things is just it's the best. And I want to be able to
Hmm.
spread that and make that bigger and make it grow. So yeah, that's kind of what it means to me. It just this the energy it creates, like the space that it creates for people, it just it creates like I think winners that just like do a lot of cool stuff. And so I want to keep that space as big and broad as possible, I guess.
Yep, no, I definitely agree. I was when I went to NYU. Well, I knew about Nesby before because I had an older brother, and the first thing he was like, we say, hey, as soon as you get on campus, find a Nesby chapter. So I was just like, as soon as I got there, I was just like, all right, where's Nesby? Where's Nesby at?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so that's why I was like, all right, cool, I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, it was immediate. Like the react, I walked in that room and I was like, "This is where I'm supposed to be." Like it was just Black people working on homework, like for sophomore year, which was terrible. So I was just like, "This is incredible." Like I felt so relieved that I found the chapter that I did. So
Yeah,
yeah,
because engineering is not hard. You got it that like that support family structure that's like really got me through. Like
def-
I know for a fact without Nesby I would not have been in it. I would have not graduated as an engineer.
definitely not. I mean, like my first like big girl job was like from a NSBE conference. Like that's
Yep.
where my career like jumped off was like the NSBE National Conference. I think it was in like Nashville. And I got my first like co-op and like from there was just like my career just started. Like that's because of NSBE. So
Yep. Same here. I went to a fall regional conference in New Jersey, and that's how I got my first internship at GE.
yeah.
And been every job from the one I had at with Cummins to one I have now with the Air Force, all through Nesby.
Really?
Yep.
The Air Force one too?
So I mean that one I probably wouldn't have found. So I got that one really through a Baya conference, but had I not had I not been in Nesby, I wouldn't have known about Baya.
Okay. I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah,
What
like hmm?
what
Oh,
is that?
So Baya stands for the Black Engineer of the Year awards. So it's like
Oh,
a huge like pretty much award ceremony, but they have a free career fair there. It's
oh,
typically they typically have it in like the I know the year that well when I got my job at the Air Force that was in DC, but when I first heard about it, the first conference I went to was in Pennsylvania.
oh,
It was in Philly. So like so far as I can tell, it's always been in like the it's like uh I would say like Atlantic coastal area,
yeah,
like mid in the kind of like the mid eastern,
yeah.
yeah, mid eastern areas, either like Pennsylvania, Baltimore, DC, Virginia,
East
that
Coast.
area. Yep.
Got it. Okay.
I
Cool.
miss the East Coast.
I
So much
know.
fun.
Not for me, but for you, that's fine. I love the Midwest and the West Coast, but not the East Coast. No offense.
I'm just saying everything's so close on the East Coast. Like you got, New York. You got New York, Boston, not too far. You got
Yeah,
Philly, Baltimore, DC, Virginia, North Carolina. You know, kind of skip South
yeah,
Carolina unless you want to go to Myrtle Beach, and then
yeah.
Atlanta, Florida. Like all the East
I
Coast
guess it
is
is over there. Yeah,
all with within like 4 hours of each other. Like each
I guess
city is
that's
like 4 hours, and then if you're the DMV, you got like three to four cities just like all within like an hour.
yeah.
It's really nice.
It is convenient. That's fair. And now you're in Ohio, so like that's like the total opposite of that because Ohio's so big.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, so like where I'm at, it's not. I'm living in Dayton now, and it's not
Yeah,
too bad because it got Columbus, and then you got Cincinnati, and then Indianapolis. So it's just like kind of so like you got Columbus is about an hour, Cincinnati's like 45 minutes away, Indianapolis is probably like an hour and a half
okay.
probably. So
Yeah,
it's not too bad. And then Dayton has his like his own has his little own charm. It's a very small city, but it's not bad.
okay.
It's a lot more. There's a lot more things to do than I thought.
Okay. That's a good surprise, I guess.
Yeah.
I picture
Got
like
the
a very small town. No offense, I picture like very just tiny town for some reason.
yeah, no, they got this one spot called Scene 75, and they have an indoor roller coaster,
Oh,
go-karts, batting cage. It's kind of like a Dave and Buster's, but better in my opinion.
okay, that's good. That's fun.
Yeah.
Nice. Sounds okay. Not Minnesota, but it's fun.
I don't know. Anything is better than being in Minnesota during the winter, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna become like one of those like summer winter birds and just like stay in Florida or like California for 3 months and then come back. But I need
Yeah, I
money.
mean, especially with with the pandemic, it's like you can do that now. So it's like,
You just work remote. Like don't even
right,
know. Like change
right.
your background. Like
So,
don't
so,
know
so,
who you
question:
are.
How has the pandemic impact your work and kind of school life? Or like, do you have to go back to? Are they making you go back in the office now for work?
So yeah, for bar, they just like they don't even care what you do. Like you can show up whenever you want, you can leave whenever you want, just like get your work done. Like there's no actual like structure for like coming back to work. Like I know in our office, people come in like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and like no one's there on Fridays and no one's there on Mondays. But like you don't even you can like come in like on a Saturday or like on a Tuesday afternoon if you want. Like nobody cares. So it's not really forcing it. But for school, so when COVID happened last year, I was like doing like lab work in the summer, and we couldn't be in the lab for like 5 to 6 months, and so that pushed me back quite a bit for like my actual research. But now like we're back in person, classes are in person again, which is nice. Zoom classes were really really tough. They were terrible.
Yeah, I can only imagine trying to do an engineering degree
It was
online.
I didn't
Like,
learn anything. I didn't learn anything,
yeah,
and that's disappointing.
yeah, because like I know when I was in school, like having the in-person classes and being able to interact with your students, to like go to the library and just
Yeah,
like, hey, like let's figure like this homework out. I don't know how grad school is. I'm like, is it more like,
it's the
is it
same
as
way.
math the same way? Okay. Like I don't know, a
It's
lot of
collaborative.
from
You
what I
want collab.
heard, I've heard that grad school for some reason is easier than undergrad. Maybe I don't know, maybe because it's more spaced out, because you're
I mean,
not.
I think it depends like what you do. It's like research, I think, is literally hard. Like I'm having a tough time just even like doing it because it's just like the mind seems to be in this like you can't give up on anything. You have to keep just like you have to keep going. Like the perseverance and like the confidence, like the patience, it takes a lot of that. Classes are more interesting, like the more tailored to like what you actually want to do, like your
Yeah.
actual field, and that's probably why it seems easier to say it comes like more naturally to like you because like you know what you're doing, like you know what you want to do.
Mm,
But
okay.
the classes themselves, it's like a high level of difficulty, but it's very collaborative. But it is like more interesting. It's like I want to do this stuff like for my career. So like I care more. So
Gotcha.
it's more enjoyable than like undergrad was, like circuits and like fluids and
Ugh.
like I don't care about that, but I care about this, and that's why it's more enjoyable to do it.
Gotcha. Okay. All
I
right.
think
So it's
why
more
most
so
people
so so it's more of a psychological thing than.
probably
Okay.
you make yourself think you're having fun. Is I think what you're what it kind of feels like. But yeah, it's I guess that's reasonable to say it's like easier. I don't know. For me, it's not easier. I'll say that it's hard. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. So talk more about what you're studying in grad school. Like, we know you're doing environmental engineering, but like, what
yeah,
specifically in environmental engineering are you studying?
sure. So my research focuses on the dechlorination process of a compound called trichloroethylene that's found in like a lot of um, like hazardous waste sites, like old paint thinner or like manufacturing facilities have just like dumped this stuff into the ground for years in like the 60s and 70s. And to clean it up is really, really hard. And so I'm working on developing like a better method with microorganisms and like bugs to basically dechlorinate that compound to a more safe
Wait,
compound.
you're using bugs in order to dechlorinate it?
It's like micro like very, very small, like DNA sized bugs.
Okay, okay, all right. I was
Like
about to say, I was
you
like,
can't
you
see
using
it.
like beetles or?
No, not beetles. Just like really, really tiny microorganisms. And they dechlorinate these things like naturally. And so I'm trying to get them to dechlorinate this other compound the same way, I guess.
Okay, so
But
is
clean
it
up-
like so it's like you dump these microorganisms, then they kind of populate, kind of like algae, and then it just like
Yeah,
cleans it up.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not working, so I gotta make it work. That's cool, though. That's like what research is. It just doesn't work for 6 months, and then all of a sudden it works. So I'm waiting for that to happen.
Okay, that's cool. That's really cool. We need definitely need that because there's certain places with terrible drinking water. Flint,
Yep,
being one of those
yep,
places. I know in Baltimore we had a huge lead poisoning
yep,
issue.
yeah.
So yeah, nah, keep whatever you do, keep it up because folks need it.
Fine. And I definitely have job security because like there's so much crap in the environment. There's so much
Yep.
bad stuff. The soil and the water and the air. It's like it's everywhere. It's like I will always have a job, which is kind of sad, but also like I want to be able to help. So
So
that's
did Bar did they pay for your to go to grad school, or are you self-funding it?
kind of. So in the beginning, so my journey is kind of weird. I was like a part-time school, part-time like worker for a little while, and that was too much. So when I was doing that, bar paid for part of it. And then I actually got funding from my boss at school, who has a grant, and that grant is paying for like my school and also giving like a stipend for research.
Ooh.
So I'm not getting paid by bar right now. Like I'm like ad hoc, I kind of like do stuff like here and there, but I'm like a full-time thing. My full-time job is a
School.
research assistant, which is being paid a lot less than I was getting paid at bar, but I'm still getting paid through like that grant until my project is done. So it's kind of a weird transition, but yes and no to answer your question.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. So, kind of focusing back on pivoting back kind of to the Nesby and the chapter. So, like, what does so we kind of as Nesby we kind of focus on three pillars. Academic excellence, professional excellence, and being a positive impact to our communities. Which
Mhm.
one of those do you say is more important to you? Because they're all important, but like which one do
Yeah,
you think is more important to you, or you know is more significant to you?
that's tough. And then like my passion really is like community orientation and like community outreach. Like I had a bad day today at school and I went to a meeting with actually Michael Wolf at his like STEAM hub and I just like
Mhm.
I was so much happier. Like that stuff just gets me and like it gets my heart racing. I just get so excited about it. So probably to me the community aspect of just like being like a staple of the community, being like a resource, being like a hub for people that is like my passion. Then second is probably academic because that's super important. Like to be smart, to be good at your job, to be knowledgeable. But like as far as like my emotional attachment, like my passion, community outreach for sure. That's like my main thing. So yeah,
Yeah, I completely feel you on that one. Because
yeah,
like for me, if I could do more, like if the community, you know, impact or community outreach stuff paid the way my engineering job paid,
yes,
I would much rather do
me too.
that.
I just love seeing like the look on kids' faces when they're like do a project, like do like a robot, the robotics team we coach together. Like doing that kind of stuff made my day so much better. It was like long hours and it was frustrating, but those like just seeing those kids like do a good job and like get excited about science and like complete their task. So that was like better than like my whole 8 hours of work that I had that day. And
Yeah,
that's
like yep.
crazy.
Yeah, no, like that. Like when we were coaching at Hiawatha, and they finally got
Yeah.
that robot to do certain tasks, like after like months of struggling, like
Yes.
that was so brought lots of joy to my soul.
Rewarding and like they were like so invested, like to see like how excited they were and me excited. It was great. Like getting to that point was tough with those
Yep.
kids, but it was worth it. Definitely worth it.
Yeah, like so coaching virtually was kind of like that same kind of the same thing. Like I don't think we really got our robots and stuff working until like maybe the week, like a couple days before the actual competition.
Really?
Yeah, because we did everything virtually,
Yeah.
and and then we had to pass the robot from like house to house, and
Oh my
we had one student that was he was the youngest on the team, and he was doing everything remotely because he was living in Georgia at the time.
Huh.
And the way like his growth was crazy because like during out the entire like all the meetings and stuff, like he was very quiet, didn't necessarily say much, but during the actual competition he was like on top of it. Was his present like his part of the presentation was great. I was like, where did all this like where did this come from?
Right. That's amazing though. Yeah, how did that go? Like coaching, like how do they even do that?
So for I don't so for FTC, which is like the high school competition, I don't know how they would do that.
Hmm.
But for the Lego for the first Lego League
Oh, okay, yeah.
LL, they have a virtual robotic simulator where you can build the robot in the simulator. Well, they have a digital designer where you can build the robot. They got a couple different programs where you actually build the robot in, but you can import that robot that you built in those programs into the virtual environment, and then you can code,
Oh,
and then you can use the code that you built, in the for the Lego Mindstorm, and then you can program it onto the virtual robot that you built, and then you can have it do whatever you
cool.
program it to, which is great because at least you'll know like, hey, will this work? Or
Yeah.
you maybe the only issue is at least that we didn't actually have the map that we were going to use for competition. So as far as getting distances and all that stuff, we kind of had to use math based on like the squares because like they gave us a map and kind of like a grid and how much each square is as far as like the space was. So you kind
Yep.
of had to calculate it kind of you had to calculate it using the squares in order to code the path correctly.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yep. And so obviously doing it virtually, typical like it was a good approximation, but it wasn't 100% accurate during the competition. So like maybe some things that might be a little bit off. So I think for us we tested it the night before and they were able to get it pretty accurately
Yeah.
done right for the competition time. So for the most part it was pretty did what the program was supposed to do. So I was very happy with the kids.
That's awesome. Yay. Do they go like far in the competition or they just kind of go?
They didn't necessarily make it to the next round, but they did win an award for the best newcoming team, which was
That's
great.
awesome. That's amazing. That's nice. What team was that again? I can't remember.
For us it was we were the coding kings.
But like what, like a certain school or like where?
No, this was within MSP, so Minnesota STEM
Okay,
Partnership. So
got
yeah,
it. Oh yeah.
so MSP they had a bunch of teams under them, and
Yep.
we were one of them.
Yeah, that's what Michael was saying today. He's like 6 teams. I think I've made 10 teams that he has like he's coaching, which is crazy.
Yep.
Space is like cool.
I don't know how many. I'm not involved in it for the summer or spring, but
Yeah.
for the winter, they had about maybe five to six teams.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I love that stuff. I'm glad you do
Yep.
too.
So for as an engineer, like what does engineering mean to you? Because like I know for me, I kind of found out what engineering was through my older brother in like eighth grade, but most people don't even know what engineers are till like much later in life. Like I know a
Definitely.
lot of my friends didn't know what an engineer was. It's just like I don't know, they build stuff.
Right? All my friends think I do. Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so like what is engineering? What is engineering when you hear the word engineer? What does that mean to you?
I think it's changed like since I've gotten older. Like when I was a kid, I feel like engineers like dealt with trains and stuff, and that was it. When I got into high school, I had this like engineering class that I took. Like it was like a engineering physics class, it was kind of cool. And we built Rube Goldberg machines,
Ooh.
presentations on like global warming. And that was just like to me, it was more just like problem solving and like learning about cool science stuff. And then I got to college and I realized engineering was hard and required a lot of patience and lots of collaboration. And then I'm like an adult and like have a job and like I'm in school and stuff. I feel like it's a combination of all those things. Like it's problem solving, it's collaboration. Lots like creativity though, honestly. I didn't like think that like being an engineer would be so like free for like using my creativity, like using my own like senses and ideas. I'd be more just like following directions and like doing like things step by step and like then you get a product and then it's great. but I think it's a lot more creative than like people like understand it is in school. So I feel like it's a lot of those things. I would say creativity, problem solving, hard work, patience, and new challenges.
Okay.
So the 5 words I've used to describe engineering as a whole. I think it's very vague, but that's why I like it. It's always changing too.
Oh, I just thought, we were magicians, we just to make
We
things happen.
we are. Take a problem, we solve, it, and then we're done. Go to the next
Yep.
problem. Like people don't like the meat of it is just I think it's there's so many like things that's like a part of engineering that people don't really understand unless you're like actually like an engineer.
Yeah.
So
So, like, what do you think is the key difference between engineers and scientists?
um personally I think we're more creative than scientists are. Like I feel like some science is very like prescriptive. It's like, okay, do this thing, 1, 2, 3, okay, then you're done. Engineering is like you start at 1, you go to Z, you go to Q, you go to 3, like you just like go all over the place and like there's no actual direct path. Like you have the same outcome. Like we are just so like we just can't like keep on a straight path. Engineer, we just like go all over the place. And that just gives us so creative and like so innovative. And that's the main difference I think to me of like scientists, like we are scientists, yes, but science seems just more a little bit more like straight line, and we're
Mhm.
more like the winding road to get to the same solution. No
For me,
offense to scientists at all. Like I love scientists, but it's just we have different brains.
yeah, for me, I would say that for me, I've always looked at a difference. Like, okay, scientists typically come up with the cool like inventions and like empirical theoretical things,
Yeah,
and then we engineers we take their kind of like ideas and make it more tangible and
yes.
be very and useful to society.
Yeah, make it reality. Like not just like some pipe dream like in someone's closet. Like we like make it so it's usable day to day, user friendly, like accessible. Yeah, that's a good point too. I like that.
Yep.
You make dreams a reality.
Yeah. Like,
What
yeah,
you
we told
do.
like we turn their theoretical dreams, airy dreams or whatever
Yeah.
into
So,
into things that like people actually want to use
yes.
and
Need.
make money off of it.
We make people think they need our solutions too.
Right.
We're really good. I'm proud of.
It's just like, hey, you never thought you needed this, right?
How you do? You can't live without it. So
Right?
sorry. Yeah, that's definitely yes. Definitely. Yeah.
So, like, as an environmental engineer, what do you think about electric cars?
Um, I like them. I think so. I was like about like a podcast. I think it was like last week that but the process to make like the batteries in those cars is actually super not environmentally
Yep.
friendly. And so it's kind of like a like it sounds nice, but like is it actually good for the environment? Probably not. Like, I don't know like how they actually work, but I've heard just like one podcast like it's not actually as good as it could be. I mean, like you know it more than I do. Like what is like what's the process? Like I don't even know what the process is.
Yeah, I mean everything right. I mean to make those batteries and all that stuff, because you got to well, depending on what kind of battery you use, you got to mine the material, which is not going to necessarily be
Yep.
environmental friendly because one, you're using heavy industrial machinery, which isn't like those aren't typically battery powered. All those are very diesel,
Oil
heavy
and
diesel,
yeah.
stuff like that. So that's all types of pollutants. Then a lot of the factories, because we're not, solar powered, they're typically powered by either natural gas, coal, or some other means. Like it's not, it's not necessarily clean, but it's like I guess from an environmental impact, it's just like, all right, if we make these that aren't, necessarily environmental friendly, but since they're on the road, they're not creating more pollutants, right?
Yeah.
And then
It's not just like is it like does it cancel out? Like is like the does the emissions that don't come from the car like cancel out the emissions made from making the car?
I don't think it cancels out, but I think it's probably less than what it is using to, use like gasoline. Like it's probably
Yeah.
less environmental. Like I don't necessarily know, but I would
Mhm.
assume that it's less of an environmental impact than using gasoline or diesel.
Yeah. But like is the process of like making like a diesel vehicle, is it as bad as making like electric vehicle? Or is it better or worse with the factory?
like I said, I think it would probably be less because one, you gotta get the gas. I mean, you got mine for the gas, or
Yeah,
drill for the gas, and then
yeah,
there's all types of issues as far as oil leaks, which is which is terrible.
pipelines, yeah.
Yeah, pipelines leaking. I just saw like there was an oil spill in the Gulf
It was on
recently.
fire. It was literally
Yeah,
on
yeah, it was on
fire.
fire. So it was just like, you know, like you
Yeah,
you have those. So like
yeah,
I think it's probably less of an impact, but still not negative or net neutral.
yeah. Baby steps, I guess. Like
Yeah,
my
yeah,
my
baby steps.
philosophy as like environmental engineer, it's like nothing's ever gonna be perfect. Like my job still creates waste. Like my lab job creates so much waste, like plastic tubes and like the packaging, like all that stuff, like sterile stuff comes so much packaging. And like I'm like the greater good of my project, like to help the environment, like almost like killing it with all this packaging and all these like products. So it's like you're never gonna win. That's somewhat cynical, but I feel like that's kind of like how I have to think about it now because it's depressing if you don't think about it that way.
Yeah,
So
so like you have other folks that are just like, all right, so we're doing all this research to make it to try to make the environment better, but like in the process we're destroying it. So like, should we do it?
right. Is it worth like all this plastic we're gonna create, like all these like materials? People think it is. I don't think it is sometimes, but like it's the greater good is what I always like say. And I guess that is that's I don't know, maybe that's worth it, but
Yeah, that's quite a conundrum, right? As a
it
environment,
is.
like your environment, you want to do all these things to improve the environment. Like you're working on these microorganisms to eat up some of the stuff, but it's like in the process of you finally getting that stuff to work, like you're destroying the environment in
Yeah.
the process.
I can create so much plastic waste and so in one day, it's ridiculous. And I feel like I shouldn't have to do that to get to this point of like solving this problem. But I don't know, you gotta be sterile. So that's
Yeah,
just what it is. I don't know. It's a catch 22, I feel like, or it's a conundrum that we are in as scientists.
yeah. I can only imagine, because
And
like
it's
it,
science does that though. So
yeah, because it's just like, all right, so you had like, yeah, it's just like for like, let's say like all these green energies, technologies, and all this stuff. It's just like you're like you want to reduce your carbon emissions, but like how much are you creating in the process of doing all this stuff? Like are you accelerating it more, like a global warming? Like I heard like couple, like I think it was like this past week the Pacific Northwest was hitting triple digits 3 days in a
yes,
row for the first time, and
yeah,
like everything was like crazy. So it's like
yeah.
we definitely need to do something, but it's just like, is what we're doing causing more is it causing more harm, like now, that's going to accelerate to the point where there's no coming back, or like what?
That's a good. I mean, I feel like we're doing a lot of stuff. I think sometimes it's kind of almost like too late for some things, sadly. Like Seattle, for example, like they hit 108 degrees on like last Tuesday, 108, and they don't have any AC there. So
Yeah, I heard. I was just like, yeah, they don't
they,
have AC. It was like
yeah.
crazy. And then I heard some parts of British Columbia was like 118. I'm
Oh
like,
my God.
what?
People will literally die. Like it's ridiculous. And like we're trying to, like curb all these things, like do like no waste and like more green energy and more solar panels. But like I personally think it's on like the big companies like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, like those kind of places to like step up and like take action on this kind of stuff. Like one small person like me or you, we can do our best and like recycle or compost our food. But we need like more than just that to like really solve this problem, I think.
So do you think we need like like we need some type of policy in order to make it like a incentive for folks to be more, so like, let's say if Pepsi, or just since you mentioned it, not
Yeah.
dissing thing about Pepsi or anything, but like using them as example, like if they were to hey, like as a government, like, hey, let's say we'll uh I don't let's say assume they pay their taxes too, because some companies don't do that. so, so assume, assume they pay their taxes. Like, hey, we'll give you a tax credit if you reduce your emissions to X amount by a certain year.
Right.
Like you think that we need to have government policies in order to make make it worthwhile to do that?
I think so. I think that people should like want to do this either way. Like they don't want to obviously. So then they need some kind of like incentive to do that. Tax breaks is great for like some kind of, I don't know, bonus. But like I just think we need accountability more for this kind of stuff. And like people need to realize what these companies are doing. It's very like secretive and like political, and that whole thing is like a whole can of worms too. But just more accountability and more just like transparency would help a lot, I think.
Yeah, but nothing happens unless money's involved. Like,
That's true.
what's an incentive for them to do it if they're not making any money off of it? Like, if it's more cheaper for them to do it the way they're doing, it's very polluting and it's messing up things up. And
Yeah.
in some, depending on what company you are, it could be killing people in
Yeah.
your area.
Yeah.
But like, what's my incentive if I'm not making money off of it, right? So, 'cause since we're such a
No,
capitalist society, so
I
like,
just
what's
like
the point?
I'm so naive. Like I think that just like be a good person, like that should be enough. But maybe it's
Nah.
not. I'm so naive in that way, which is really sad. Like how old I am. But I feel like why wouldn't you want to help the environment? Why wouldn't you like want to like stop making plastic bottles, like stop making like plastic cups? Like what is, I don't know why like you wouldn't want to stop doing that to help the environment.
Because I mean, everybody's beholden to the almighty dollar, dollar bills, y'all.
I know, but like ugh, you can still sell stuff just like in better materials. That's like it's win-win.
Yeah, but it's so much more expensive to do that though. It's cutting into my profit margins, Bailey. Like, what are you doing?
But
I need
I don't care about your I don't
I,
care about that. I don't care.
I mean, all those people who are investing in that company are like my shareholders. Like, I got to pay them. I got to pay my employees, and I want to make
Yeah,
as much money as possible. So like, why should I do this?
because
Convince me.
I can't. All I have is like because you can be a good person, you can save the environment. It sounds so cheesy and naive and like stupid, but that's all I can like. I don't know. Like I guess I get why it's like so cheap. I understand that. I feel like it doesn't have to be, and like if you use like the materials, you can get more creative with like how you package things and like still like say or have the same profits. I think
Mhm.
if you like work hard, if you like work hard enough to do that. But like people just kind of forget about it. They just like kind of like, oh no, it's too hard. We're not gonna do it. It's too hard. No, that's too much.
I don't necessarily think it's too hard. I just think that investment in order to come up with something that would be more environmentally friendly versus what they're currently doing doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily make sense from a business standpoint. So it's just like,
fair.
unless the government steps in and tells me that I either get tax breaks from doing something like that, or it has some kind of incentive for me to go more environmentally friendly, why do it? And I think that's and some people have ill uh I would say, or contempt for government and regulation stuff like that. But like, if you want things to change, in my opinion, as far from a worldwide, like governments are gonna have to step in, like, hey, like this is what we're gonna do, and you can either pay a huge fine to keep doing what you're doing, or get with the program. But you know, again, greed is crazy. So
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I kind of like just the incentive like to do it, or like the opposite way. You can just like fine people for not doing it. That's what like the
Yeah.
next like the EPA does that all the time for like pollutants and like discharges,
Yep.
like dirty water. Like if you have dirty water, you get fined for that. And like, look what happened. We have clean water now. Like that's like all you do is charge people money for doing it, and they won't do it anymore.
So what
So
happened in Flint then, right? Like, you would think
Flint,
they would have got they would whoever they would get fined, right? But I think it's just up to the governments, like individual governments, that
yeah,
like in the
that's
state,
also
because it's a
yeah,
state, that's a
yeah,
state, it's a state to state issue. It's not like a federal regulation. Like, if your water is this polluted, like your state's gonna get fined and take funds away and stuff
yeah.
like that. And
That's true.
it's just like, well, federal government's only gonna do but so much. I feel like, just because of uh I would say feelings.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
They don't have like so much bandwidth like to cover certain things, like to do certain things. Like they don't. the power to do everything. And I understand that, but like,
But in general, politics is feeling. It's typically feelings over facts. All you got to do is convince enough people to believe you versus
hmm,
whatever the
everybody
other
else.
person says. Then
Yep,
whatever you say goes, right?
hopefully. I mean, I guess it's how it works. I feel like, yeah, yeah, that's fair. It
So it's
sounds
just
easier than it actually is, I feel like though.
yeah, I mean, because like as engineers, we deal in a very fact based reality. Like everything we do is dependent on facts, and when you
Yes.
have things that aren't dependent on facts, like I know I get very frustrated when it's just like, all right, why like think about all the mundane processes that you do in your company. Like, why are we doing this? Like, this is so inefficient. Like, oh, it's the way we've been doing it for years. It's the part of the culture. And I'm just like, but it's dumb.
Yeah, it's not
Like why? Like
efficient,
why?
it takes
Why?
time, all these things. Yeah,
Like why? Like why are we still doing this? It's so inefficient.
yeah. People just like stuck in there, like they're stuck in their ways. The same thing with like polluters or like giant companies are just like stuck in those ways of like, and the same thing for the past 50 years and it still works. If it ain't broken, don't fix it. So like they're just
Right?
doing it until someone like really passionate just calls it out. It's like, hey, this actually is broken. Maybe you should fix it now. Like it's been 50 years. Please fix it. But like if no
Yeah.
one's gonna do that, they should keep doing the same things. And
Yep.
like us as like our like age going millennials, we hate that stuff. We hate like these old processes and like there's like super inefficient things. So I feel you. It's very frustrating. These like big companies just like are so set in their old ways.
Yeah.
It's
Just like yeah. There's all types of policies or just like and then like when you think about how our government is in general, and when you just think about all the things that like we're wasting money on versus things that are like actual important. Like, why are we spending so much money in this area when obviously this is this is like way more important and is causing lots of harm to people. Like, we need to fix this issue, but it's just like, well, it's not profitable for us to do it. So like,
yeah,
why do it?
yeah, that's true. No, that was like about that people had like the whole space race, like the whole like people like going to space like for fun. Like there was like some millionaire that went to space. Who was it last week?
Oh, Richard Branson.
Yeah, and people were like, "Why going to space when people are still starving? Like what are you doing?" And he was like, "I don't know." Like I don't know how to
Like,
get
I have
money.
all this money and I want to go to
Right.
space. Let's do it.
It's the same thing. It was like there's like some of them have like more priorities like on Earth you can deal with, but then if you want to go to space, like it's that kind of it's priorities.
Yeah.
Not everybody has the same ones, and I respect that. But at the same time, it's like really, it's a little bit tone deaf. So I don't know. I'm just cynical at this point in my life. I feel like, oh,
uh
sorry,
so
downer.
uh another question I had for you was, so like, out of, so I know you're not necessarily, we haven't really started our year yet, but like, between out of all the NSBE positions that you've hosted or done before, like, which one, whether it's been in college or professionally, like, which one have brought you the most joy?
Um, I love the college show. Like I love that job. Like, I think that's when I like formed the mentorship program like with that team. That was I think I don't know 3 or 4 years ago.
Hmm.
Like I kind of like started that. And that was like very gratifying to do that. It's like more like involved. I like people like do like things on the ground and like talk to people, like make connections. I think as president I can do that, but I think it's less like interface and more like oversight.
Hmm.
I like that kind of like that part about I want to be able to like make connections and like talk to people and stuff like that too. So I mean the college share like really like brought back to me of like connecting to people and like helping people and like having those kind of conversations every day. Program share was a little bit like less, more managing, less
Hmm.
like face-to-face interaction, and president's like even more managing, like less face-to-face. So I like the role as president. I like the face of Nick is like really cool like to deal with to say that. But I'm gonna miss like the boots on the ground, like that kind of work that I got to do as like the PCI and CI chair. But I mean, that's fine. I can incorporate that like into my vision, like
Hmm.
have people like, do it with me and like have really cool ideas. So I think it's a balance, but I miss like that kind of part of it for sure.
Yeah, I would say the cool thing about being a kind of like a programs chair or president where you're like overseeing is like you can you can get as hands on as you want to. So like for
Yeah.
me last year, I was very hands on in the professional development chair and PCI chair, and I kind of let the other chairs persons do kind of their own thing.
Hmm.
And as president, it's just like, all right, yeah, I'm managing this whole thing, but like, hey, if I have time, like I can dip my hand into any area, whether it be membership, programs,
Yeah.
treasure, or anything like that. So
Yeah.
I like that flexibility.
Me too. I think my weakness is like I think I want to get too involved. Like I want to like be involved in like everything. And that's not my job anymore. My job is to like support my team, get resources they need, listen, be collaborative, like provide like space to do that. Like I don't have
Mhm.
to go to like all these meetings with like all these I don't know, like the college initiative stuff, like mentorship. I don't have to do that. I can if I have time, but like I just love being involved and I need to like take a step back and like
Yeah.
let it just
Like
flow.
let me gosh Bailey, let me do me.
I know. I just love to like I love to see the work happen and like see like in person. I need to just, take a break and just let it happen. But I need to hold me accountable to that when I'm doing this year. Of like, let me know if I'm getting too involved or
Got you.
too micromanaged. I feel like I won't, but I'm trying to work on it. But if I do, let me know.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure uh people will let you know. Oh no, who
Okay.
knows? They might, I don't know. Some people may like it. Me personally, I'm more of a, you know, yeah, I have this vision, you know, if you have something different, let's talk about it and
Yeah.
see where we can compromise, or if your vision is just way better, just go ahead and do you. And if you need help, just let me know and I'll help
Yeah.
out. I'm more
Yeah.
of a I'm a very hands-off kind of person. Just like, hey, I trust you, do you. If you need help, just let me know and I'll help out.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. And I have a question for you actually. So like as programs chair, what can I do as president to support you in your zone? Any
So
advice for me?
yeah, that's a great question. So for me, I kind of want to continue what I was doing last year. So I think for me and kind of my zone in general, the two main things that I would like to see, almost three things. One is helping us build more community partnerships, because like I feel like we fell off with like cookie carts because of the pandemic, and like,
Yep.
but like I want to build kind of those more community relations and things like that in order to help, to gain more partnerships like we did with Minnesota STEM partnership.
Definitely.
Like last year, like our involvement in Minnesota STEM partnership was huge. Like, they were helping us do the podcast, and they're still, I mean, they're gonna edit this video later, but
Right.
but helping us start the podcast, robotics, starting an SB junior chapter and all
Yep.
that stuff. Like I want to have that kind of level of involvement as a chat, like as a chapter with all of our community partners.
Definitely.
That's something I want. So that's one, that community partnership. Two, from a PCI standpoint, just making sure that Nesby Junior has a successful kickoff starter year and
Mhm.
inaugural year, and
Mhm.
making sure that they're set up to a point where they're able to continue this for years and years without us having to be there. Because
Yep.
I'm in Ohio, so it's just like I can only do but so much.
Right.
Um, you're in Minnesota, but you can leave. You could be leaving soon.
Yeah.
Uh, Especially with some of the changes that in your life.
Yeah.
So who knows what might happen between with you.
Yeah. Well,
So
we just
just
bought
make
a house, so we're gonna be here for a while.
okay, good.
Yeah. We're not going anywhere. Don't sit down.
I mean, hey, I bought a house too. I thought I was gonna be there for
That's
a good amount
true.
of time. So things, like I said, things happen. You
That's
never
true.
know.
When you bought that house, when did you buy that house?
2018.
Only 3 years.
Yep.
Oh my God.
I was planning to be there at least 5.
Wow.
and
Yeah, these times change.
yeah,
Wow.
things happen. So you know,
Yeah. Huh. But yeah, we'll be here for at least 3 years, my minimum for this house for sure.
yeah.
The
Well, I'm
money.
about to say like if you like yeah, if you just like if you just bought a house, like I wouldn't like unless you were trying to flip it, I'd definitely be in there at least more than 2 years.
Yeah. That's not when I get our money's worth and just like make it our own and then leave. But like
Wait, so did you
no
buy a
flipping.
house or did you buy a house like a single family or did you buy like a townhouse or
Like a
what?
house, like a four
Oh,
bedroom,
okay.
4 bed, 2.5 bath. It's long.
Oh, y'all balling. Okay, I see
Oh
you.
no, we're not. No, 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 no. We're in massive debt. That's okay. That's the American dream. Yeah, it's in Bloomington. It's like close to my work, which is really nice. It has a basement, and like our
Oh, it's a
dog.
basement too.
Yeah.
Moving on up.
Moving on from a 1 bedroom apartment to this was like a huge change.
I know,
So
right?
here, I have my own office. Like I have like all this space now.
Oh
Great.
man, I know you got to be loving that place.
Oh my God, yes, definitely. It was a rough process, but I'm glad we have finally finished it and we're here, moved in. So yeah.
Yeah, so like, how was that? Because like I've been hearing a lot of stuff with the housing market being all crazy, prices going up through the roof. Like
Hmm.
me, I don't know. I got lucky with my place because it was um the realtor I happened to be working with happened to have my particular place kind of it was in the work, so it wasn't on the market yet. But like after it
Oh
got
yeah.
fixed, so like I kind of like I was able to get first dibs on it. Whereas like there's other places that were on the market, like they had a crap ton of buyers and people were bidding like crazy amounts over asking price, and I was just like, yeah, no, I don't want to do
Yeah.
that.
Did you buy in Ohio too?
Yep.
Oh, okay, okay. How did you sell your house here? Like, was that a crazy process too, or no?
I mean, I was hoping to get a little bit more than what I got, but I mean, I didn't lose any money, so I was happy about that.
There you go. Now you gotta break even at least, make it worth it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
part of
yeah,
it. Same thing.
yeah. So yeah, pretty much broke even, and
Yeah.
then I was just like, all right, well, but I did make make I made out with some money on this particular place just because
Okay.
of the loan structure that I had, perks of being a government employee.
Oh yeah.
So like I was able to get this place with zero down and no PMI, which is crazy,
What?
right? I know, right?
That's I've never heard of that in my life because
Me
that doesn't
either.
make any sense.
Yeah, perks of being a government employee.
I would love them to have PMI and zero down. Like what? I don't know how you do both. That's crazy.
Yeah, I kind of just found out about it. Like I was with another loan company, and then I switched because I heard that they offer that. I was like, oh shoot, zero down on P much. Let me see if I can get this.
Wow. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so like with closing and everything, like I ended up getting money back out of it. So like, yeah, it was crazy. Like I've never heard of that.
That doesn't make I can't like comprehend like how that even works because like you just bought a house, but you got paid to buy a house basically.
Yeah, I mean, kind of, because I'm still in a bunch of debt, but from
Yes.
the mortgage. But it's just like
Trickling back.
I made immediate money to
Yeah.
give back to them
Fast.
later.
That's good. But it's still their money, but like you have it like now, you're gonna get back to them later anyway.
Yeah.
But still, that's pretty good deal. Yeah, but for us, the process actually wasn't that bad. We started looking in like January, February, open houses like March and April. Um, we looked at 4 houses. We saw this one, put an offer in, we got it accepted like the next day, which
Oh,
like
okay.
never happens. We went like a little bit over, but not much, like not crazy over. We got like an inspection. We did like all like the right stuff, like to buy a house. We didn't spend like $50,000 over or like skip the inspection. Like people like I guess are doing that now, but we did not
Yep.
want to do that. I think it was just like lucky. And I wrote an amazing letter to the seller that just like was a tearjerker, but it definitely helps too. And yeah, we just like we moved in this past weekend and now we are gonna do projects all the time. The lawn, floors, painting,
Oh yeah, you gotta get a
bathrooms.
lawnmower, weed whacker.
Yes, we have to buy all this stuff now.
Yeah, nah, oh my, I spent so much money when I first moved in the very first week. I had
Yeah,
like, cause I had to buy all new lawn equipment. Uh, Yeah, the lawn equipment alone was ridiculous. Then you had to get
Yeah.
some kind of furniture, had to get a mat, had to get a new mattress because I didn't bring any furniture with me when I moved. It was like whatever I could fit on my whatever I could fit on my truck. That's what I took to
Oh,
Ohio.
wait. So you had an apartment here.
Yeah, I had an apartment there. Then I bought a townhouse,
Yeah.
and then I all the furniture because I brought all the furniture I bought when I had the apartment to the townhouse, and
Yes.
then when I sold the townhouse, I got rid of all the furniture that I had with me, and
Oh,
then whatever I could, literally whatever I could fit on that truck, that's what I took.
why don't you give me your stuff? I could take your stuff from you. I
I
could borrow it
mean,
from you.
I don't think you were looking at the time.
Oh, okay. Well, when did you sell?
I sold it in I officially sold it in January.
Oh, that was a long time ago then. Okay, never
Yeah,
mind. That was like in May for some reason. I don't know why. No, that doesn't make sense. Okay, yeah, that makes never mind.
yeah. So I sold all that stuff in January. So
Got it. And you brought like a little bit of stuff to Ohio, but you bought all new stuff when you got there?
yep,
Oh
pretty
my
much.
God. How? I don't understand. It's so expensive. Like a lawnmower is so expensive.
Yeah. Oh, did you buy a lawnmower yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
Fine, this is
I got a battery power one.
this is what we're gonna do. Yeah, we're gonna do like I think it's like an Ego brand.
Oh, you go. Okay, yeah. I got DeWalt.
Oh yeah. Battery power. Is it good? Is it like a nice
Yeah, no, it was real good. And the main reason why is because it's just like, all right, well, I have these battery packs. Might as well get something that but so like when I plan on building a lot of things because so the base I work at it's like literally like its own mini village, and I have like a woodworking shop, and you can bring in plans there and build things yourself. So I plan on building my own dining table and little portable
That's so
island.
cool.
Yeah, and oh man, the design for it is gonna be dope. So like you know like Murphy beds and stuff like that where they
Mhm,
like pull down from the wall. Mine's is
mhm.
gonna be like a table that like pulls down from the dining table that pulls down from the wall.
Oh yeah, I've seen like those like Instagram ads for like those like conversion tables and like those like really cool like bookcase slash table slash like chair, like all these like really cool things. I love that stuff. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Mine's is gonna be like I gotta make sure I gotta measure it,
Yeah.
make sure that it's able to fold up without hit because like I have the ceiling fan that's gonna be kind of annoying.
Ooh,
That's like
yeah.
if I pull it down, I may hit it. So I
Yep.
gotta make sure I gotta make sure that it's shorter than that, and then also when it comes up, it's not hitting the ceiling.
Yeah. Enough clearance and stuff. That's really cool.
So I'm building those things. Right now, but I don't. So I don't have a dining table, but I do have like a little bar kind of area. So that's kind of where
Mhm.
I eat and do all the
Nice.
stuff. And my
Nice.
kitchen is way bigger than my last place. Like the kitchen I had before was super small. This one's way bigger,
Nice.
but I noticed that when I cook, I need a lot of cooking space. So I'm gonna make a portable like a island to like
Oh yeah,
move
yeah,
around and stuff like that.
yeah. Like a prep space, a little prep area.
Yep.
Yeah, that's nice. Oh, I love that. I love all like the project, it's like the things you can want to do like in the house. It's just, I'm so excited for this. Like just like to change and like we painted this and like it looks so much different. Carpet,
Yeah, that's another thing
great.
over, having apartments. You can just do whatever you want to the
You do
house
whatever
is
you want. You
yours.
change the whole bathroom if you want. You change the whole basement. You can burn it down and just build a new house. You do
Right?
whatever you want. It's like it's really our land, but it's like that's so weird to me, but I love it. It's really
Yeah.
cool
I
being
also
on
gotta
the
deal with
corner.
all those repairs. Like I had a bunch of issues like when I first moved in, like with like plumbing.
Oh,
Or my water heaters like broke like I would say like a few weeks after I moved in.
oh my God, that's like the worst case scenario. It's
I mean, it wasn't bad because like I still had warranty on it, so it wasn't, so like I was fine. But like had it
yeah,
been out of warranty, I'd have been like, oh, I had to get a whole new heater, stuff like
yeah.
that. But luckily, this one wasn't like it wasn't bad. I didn't necessarily need a whole water heater. I just needed like the water, like the heating element replaced. So
Oh,
it wasn't that bad.
yeah. I know ours is from like it's from like 1997. Our water heater, so it's gonna go out like eventually. So we just like have a list
19,
like
it's like, oh yeah. I should be getting a new water heater like now.
now. I know we have a list. We have like a backup and like we have a plan, but
Yeah,
we're
I
not.
was about to say typically those water heaters like 30 year warranties, something like that.
I think it's out of warranty though, because it's like super old. Like they wouldn't give us a warranty on this one because, well,
I don't know. Like I said, typically water heaters is like it's like either 30 or 20. If it's 20 year, then y'all definitely out. But if it's
Yeah,
a 30 year warranty, then you're fine for a few years.
but the warranty, they wouldn't like, is it like a townhouse thing, or like, is it like a,
I mean, my place is a it's a single family home.
yeah,
So I think mine was a 20 year warranty. So I still have like a year and some change left on mine.
okay, got it.
But
Like
yeah, like
warranty then.
yeah, like I said, mine's is 20 year. I don't know if yours is like a if I don't know if 20 years is standard for water heaters or what. But if it is, then yeah, y'all need a new water heater.
Yeah, we're gonna do one like soon. We need to find somebody to install it, and then we need to buy one. But like, we know what we need. Like, we have like that money saved up for that when it does happen.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna happen like the first day of winter for sure. When you have to get like a hot shower, it's like, oh crap, the water's cold.
Oh, speaking of which, yeah, now you gotta worry about making sure you turn off some of your like the outdoor water spigots or whatever that you for like garden hoses. You gotta
Yep,
make sure you shut the valves off so your
that's what
pipes
my
don't
friend told me.
burst.
I said, that's a really good idea. Like, I never known that if I didn't like talk to my friend about hoses for half an hour. But yes, like that, like those like winter like prep and like summer prep, like just those would be, we don't like, we know nothing about homes, and we're very new to this obviously. So
Yeah, same here. I didn't necessarily think that wasn't something that came to mind either. And I was
yeah,
like, oh yeah, I probably should do that.
yeah,
Because when I first moved in, they were all off, and I was
yeah.
like wondering why did my spigots weren't working. And then I had to
Oh,
call somebody because I had a feeling where they were, but I didn't necessarily know, and I didn't want to mess up something
yep,
trying to figure out where it was. So I had to
yeah.
call somebody to turn it on. I was like, oh yeah, no, that was just a valve. I was like, oh, I could have did that.
Homeowner, first homeowner mistake, first homeowner moment. Yeah, I think we should teach this stuff to like college kids, like in college, like how to buy a home and like how to apply for a loan. It's like our community, especially, just gets so messed up with like loans and debt and stuff.
Yeah,
So
credit,
have
typically
education.
bad credit and all that stuff.
Yes,
So it's
and
just
if we
like,
can solve that
yeah,
with like education, I think.
yeah. Like what? So like, did you have a credit card
Yeah,
in college or anything?
my dad signed me up for one when I was in college, like to build my credit, like for like my credit history, and then I got another one. I got tricked into getting one when I was a sophomore in high school by like this old Navy card. I got one of those, and I was like, "This is a scam," and I got that was a bad lesson. And then I got another one like when I first moved here. I think I have three right now. I just like so I get like my credit history, like my credit like repertoire, whatever it's called.
Hmm.
I've had my first one for like at least 10 years now. So
Hey, yeah, I didn't have my own credit card until after I graduated college.
yeah,
So I had like
the
zero
history
credit
is not there.
history,
Yeah,
and I had have a lot. My down payments were a lot higher than what
yep.
they could have been.
They did, and it's because we didn't know. Like, people didn't, people just don't know, like student loans, like how to apply for those,
Yep.
or credit cards, car loans, like all that stuff. Like, we're just not taught in school for some reason. Like, it's like basic life skills you need to learn. You're just not taught. And like we can do
Yeah.
that so easily with like any kind of like a class for like high school kids or like college kids. That'd be so easy to do.
Yeah.
That is NSBE chapter.
Yeah. I
Sorry.
want. Yeah. Like I also want to get more back into like trades or like having that as an option because
Yeah.
it's like you make so much money
Yes.
doing trades and like nobody does it, like especially
Yeah.
with like welding. Like there's such a shortage for folks to do
Huh.
welding
I didn't
and
know
things
that.
like that. Like you can make so much money in like welding or any kind of like technicians and stuff like that, especially plumbing. Everybody needs a
Definitely.
plumber.
Every need a plumber. Every need a plumber. Because I can't do it myself. Because I'll pay someone else to do it for me.
Man, I just spent $700 on a plumber not too long ago,
See,
and
they make everything.
I was so hurt.
Yeah.
I was just like,
They make
oh,
everything sure. It's yeah, it's kind of crazy. I'll pay any amount of money for like electricians, plumbers. I can't do any of that myself. Like HVAC, I can't do that myself. So I'll pay that. I will support your business. So but yeah, it's definitely like a needed skill for sure.
so wait, so at bar, do you work with technicians at all?
Oh yeah, like CAD technicians, like more like wastewater like operators, like the wastewater treatment plants. Um, That's the main one, I feel like. But like that's just like they have so much knowledge. They know
That's so
everything.
that's exactly what I was about to ask you about. So like, how is that relationship? Because I feel like technicians low key kind of hate us because
Oh, definitely.
we get paid more than them and they know way more than we do
Like I'm like, oh, like,
about what we're asking.
yes, I'm a very like small petite girl. Like tell them how like what to do and like how like to do certain things. They're just like, lady, like are you like I'm 60 years old. I'm just like 40 years of my life. Like I know way more than you do. Like tell me what to do. Like, are you serious? Yeah. I feel bad like kind of like doing that and like so, but I have to. Like I feel bad doing that sometimes. And just like asking dumb questions, like asking like to do certain things. It just feels I feel guilty. But I have to do it to learn my to do my job. So
Yeah, like that's I've always found that crazy. Like, why do people who actually do the work get paid less than the people who manage it?
I don't know. Like I think I can't. There's no reason. There's no reason. I think it's you're taking advantage of people, honestly, and like it's just I don't know. I don't know. Like I mean, like teachers, like same they teachers do all this work and they get paid nothing. So like same kind of
Yeah,
concept. Why do we allow that to happen every year? I don't know.
yeah,
Doesn't
because like yeah, when I was working at Cummins, like the technicians, they knew way more about the products about than I did.
yes.
I would be writing a test and they'd be like, "Are you sure about this?" I'm like, "You know what?
No.
Whatever." I'm like, "You know what? You're right." And whatever you think is necessary,
Yep. You do
fine,
it. You
go,
do it.
you
Yep.
go.
I
Like
know
you,
nothing. I
you're
know literally
like
nothing.
yeah tell me what this value should be and I'll
Yeah.
just write it in the test request and fine. Like it'll be fine.
Yes, yes, definitely. It's kind of backwards how much we don't know. We're like these like millennial kids, just like out of college, like we don't know anything about anything, but we think we do.
Right, oh, we
And
think we know so much.
yeah, we think we do. I don't know why he told us that because like it wasn't me. I'm not sure who know all these things, but it is kind of backwards for sure.
Yeah, like you just graduate, you get put on this job, and then like they expect you to know something. Like I don't know any of this.
Hey,
Like,
when we get out of school, like what does this mean?
like that. You know, and that's the crazy thing I've always thought about engineering. Like engineering school in general, is just like you don't like the stuff that you learn in school. Typically, has nothing. It's
Yeah.
nothing going to be related to anything you do actually on a job. I've
Isn't
always
it
found that.
frustrating?
Yeah, it's like why put me all through all this pain and
Yes.
suffering,
And debt.
me and debt to not need to know any of this.
Right. I could have got my job, like I could have gotten my job when I was in high school probably, and just like started working and had the same experience I do now, I feel like. Instead
Yeah,
of all that school.
yeah. I think the only benefit to it is just getting you in that problem solving mindset of like
Yeah,
how to solve the problems and how to persevere.
collaborate.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
collaborate with people just like, hey, like, yeah, this problem, this is how you should go about figuring it out. Like, did you do XYZ step like this step? And
Yeah.
like that mindset and process I think is very valuable. But it's just like I feel like y'all could teach me this in a much easier way.
But it's like a lot like fast. What, like it's 4 years necessary for like all these classes? I don't think so.
Yeah,
All
especially
my
now when we have
classes,
computers to do everything.
exactly. Like I learned all my stuff, like my like specific like environmental engineering stuff in 2 years. The first 2 years of college was like the basics of like math and like physics and stuff, and I didn't need any of that stuff. I'm never gonna use it again. Like my degree was 2 years of like actual like important classes, and I do use that stuff like sometimes, but like the rest of the stuff, circuits, never gonna use that again, ever, ever. I didn't take it. Why? I don't know, but I did. So.
Was that an elective that you chose to take or was it
No, it was
required?
required for
Oh.
engineering. You didn't have that?
No, I didn't. Well, we didn't necessarily have like a circuits class, but a we had like an automatic controls and measurement systems class where we went over how to do um well and in physics we learned so if you know in physics class we learned about
Yeah.
circuits, but it wasn't like a specific circuits class that I took.
Oh, okay. Dang, why did I went to the wrong school? Like all my first year was like circuits, statics,
Yeah,
like
I took
fluid.
statics.
Yeah, like
Fluid took
stuff I'm never
fluids.
gonna use. What else? Like statistics, like all these math
Yes,
classes.
statistics. Ugh.
Ugh, never will like it, but I took it. multiple classes, math classes, like chemistry, like 1 and 2,
Yeah,
physics
we only had to take
1 and 2.
one.
Really?
Yeah, Chem one, and then for us, physics all the way up to three.
Oh, I checked just one. Maybe that's what it is. Huh? But like, why circuits? I just don't understand why I take that class.
Yeah, I don't as a
It's
environmental engineer that's like under the civil
yes.
umbrella. Like,
Yep.
why would you need to take circuits?
Problem skills. I don't know. That's what they claimed they were teaching me. I didn't learn anything but
Yeah,
frustration
like yeah,
class.
like for mechanicals, I could see it because now, especially now, that a lot of things are becoming more electromechanical. Like
Right.
I can understand, as a mechanical engineer, you needing to know circuits, like at
Right.
least just the basics.
Definitely.
But
Definitely.
like, yeah, as a civil environmental engineer, like why? Yeah,
And I used it in like my 7 years or whatever, 5 years of like professional like work. Never used a day in my life. Robotics, maybe like when I volunteered robotics, but like that was like a little bit, and that was very very small. So I don't know. I can't explain it, but I did it.
and I feel like a lot of I feel like a lot of these schools just be scamming. They'll be like, all right, they make you take all these ridiculous core
Core
quote
classes.
unquote, yeah, core
Yeah.
classes that aren't related to your major. I'm like, why am I taking this?
Oh, I agree. More money that put me more in debt for more of my life.
Yeah, like I could definitely have my degree in 2 to 3 years and be fine and not have to take any of these classes. Like, why do I need to take this English class that has nothing to do? It's not even technical writing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I would love that, but like creative writing, I didn't need that. I'm not gonna use that ever again.
yeah, why do I need to know creative writing when all it is opinion based stuff anyway?
Yes.
Like, does the professor like my writing or not? Like,
Yeah. It's all subjective.
it's all
Right.
subjective. Like it's not even like I can understand if it was like like if they were just grading like grammar and stuff like that,
Right.
and because you answered the question, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that,
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that. But like no, like this is like interpret this paragraph. I'm just like,
I don't want to.
one, I don't want to, and two, like why are you making me reach for stuff that isn't there? Like the word says,
Yeah,
like
that
the
too.
paragraph
That
says this. This is what it says.
too.
Why do you want me to extract some underlying meaning when that's not what the text says?
Oh wow, your brain, you are such an engineer. So black and white. Oh, that's funny. I'm surprised. But no, I agree. It's like I can't see what you're seeing. Like I don't care, first of all. And like these words say this. That's how I interpret them, and that's it. Like there's no underlying meaning or like background. Like, no, it's just those are the words and that's it. Well,
You know what the funny thing is that like in all my English classes I did terrible except for when the topic was about black people.
huh. Imagine that. I'm not surprised at all, but like
Like, that's the
that's probably
I don't know, maybe because my perspective is different and I was able
like
to like
it's yeah.
understand it. So like maybe that's what the professor was trying to get me to understand about all the other stuff, and I'm just like, one, why? Two, like, like unless I've gone through something that this person is writing, like this means nothing to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I still don't get it to this day, but
Yeah, it is what it
we're gonna
is.
have to do it again. It's gonna do my job and be an engineer.
Right. So I don't necessarily have any more questions or anything like that. Did you have anything as far as like uh questions you had about maybe uh anything within, I guess, my programs, or maybe something you wanted to know about me, or or just my vision for the podcast or whatever?
Yeah, like why did you start like doing the podcast in the first place? My question, I guess.
So for me, I just thought it. Have you ever watched any of Joe Rogan's podcasts?
Yeah, I've heard of
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So like I don't necessarily watch his podcast like religiously, but when I do watch it, typically is a lot of interesting conversations, and
Hmm.
that's kind of how I wanted to to do the style for this kind of podcast. Just kind of, have something talk about pretty any kind of subject and kind of related to engineering.
Yeah.
Kind of how Neil deGrasse Tyson does his explanations with Star Talk. If you
Yeah.
ever watch that
Yeah. I've heard of that.
show, so like it's kind of that, but like we're kind of Nesby engineering focus, trying to bring folks who may not necessarily think about certain things and tie it to how engineers think about various problems. So
Yeah.
a lot of stuff typically I talk about specifically black community oriented. So like one of my other episodes was like regarding like relationships and like why is the divorce rate so high in
Mm-hmm.
our community especially,
Mm-hmm.
and go like compared to other cultures, and like how, and like as an engineer, since we're problem solvers, like how do you fix that from
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
from an engineering standpoint,
That's
like
cool.
how do you as an engineer, how do you go and like fix these particular issues? And then my other subject regarding education, right? As a, like typically education in our community isn't necessarily that big of a focus. So like
Mm-hmm.
how do we solve that problem to make it more prevalent, so that we, as you know, as a black community, don't think that all we have to be is entertainers and athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
we can be engineers or
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
doctors or lawyers or
Fine.
something else other than
Yeah.
athletes and
Yeah.
entertainers.
Yeah. Cool. That's a really cool vision that you have. It's like you just did it. You just woke up and you started doing it. That's amazing.
Yeah, and then by being in the pandemic, you know, because we have these platforms like Zoom, and the
Mhm.
way I'm able to talk to pretty much whoever I can, and I don't necessarily have to be there, which is
That's
great.
true. That's really nice. It's like so much more like accessible than anybody else. Now you can just talk to
Yep,
people across the world, which is kind of cool.
yep. So that's kind of, and then also I was thinking about having my own podcast, but I felt like based on the topics that I wanted to talk about, which was kind of black community oriented topics, and like I said, me being an engineer, I felt
Yeah.
like doing it on the NSBE TCPC platform would be a lot would be a lot one, it would just be a lot easier, and it would be relevant, and plus it gives the chapter more exposure. So I was just like,
Definitely.
hey, you know, I get to practice, you know, my podcasting skills and
Yeah.
interviewing and things like that, and also, you know, help out the chapter as far as getting more exposure to other people who may not necessarily thought about engineering, or if they're in the Minnesota area and they're, you know, STEM oriented, like, hey, you know, there's a place for me to go
Yeah.
that, you know, that are have people that are of like minds. So that's kind of
Here,
why.
this PCPC in Minneapolis.
Yeah, so you know that was kind of my thought process as
Yeah.
far as why I started it.
Well, thank you for doing it. I appreciate it. I think it's really good for a chapter. It's good for like everybody that's involved and just like talk stuff out. It's like really fun for me too. Just like talking about random stuff with my
Right.
friends. So it's
Yeah,
always
like
it's
yeah,
always
yeah,
fun.
because typically like how I structure the interviews is always like, all right, start off kind of engineering related, and then wherever it goes, it goes.
Yeah. It went all over the place. It's like, oh my God,
Right.
what are you doing? But I loved it. It was really fun. It's my
Yeah,
first
and
time
it's
on a podcast. So thank you for my first experience being on a podcast.
yeah, no problem. I don't necessarily, I don't know. I think since I'm not in, you know, since I'm not in Minnesota, and when you get, I won't necessarily be the program's chair,
Yeah.
uh, you know, long term for this year, but I don't know. I think I still may do the podcast episodes just because, like I said, I enjoy doing them.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to keep doing it, do it. Seriously. Post. Look, people can just follow it and stuff. I love that. If you want to keep doing it, if you have time, that would be great.
Yep. Yeah. Nah, that yeah, it's something definitely I want to continue doing. And
Yeah.
then I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do when I get involved with the Dayton chapter. Because I know that
Oh
it's so
yeah.
a lot of so actually a lot of the people that are in the Nesby chapter are from the Air Force,
Huh. Okay.
AFRL
Yeah.
civilians. So like my mentor, he's in the chapter. I don't think the current president is within the Air Force civilian workforce, but I would say from what I heard, majority of the Dayton chapter is Air Force civilian personnel.
Hmm.
So
How big is
that'll
the
be
chapter?
interesting. It's I wouldn't say it's I don't think it's that big. I don't think it's as big as Nesby TCPC just
Okay.
because just because Dayton in general doesn't have as many companies
Yeah,
as Minneapolis. Like Minneapolis has so many.
seriously, recruit
Yeah,
heavily.
They got 3M, General Mills, Cummins,
Yeah,
Best Buy, Target, Land
everything.
O'Lakes. Like literally,
Huge, big work.
I don't
Yeah,
understand how Minnesota got all these companies to go there when it's so cold.
Midwest is the best. I don't know. That's all I gotta say. Midwest is the best. I don't know. It's just like I guess
uh,
cement was cheap. I guess back then. I don't know.
yeah, I could see that being just a lot cheaper and
Yeah,
more business friendly. Like, hey, come out here to get these tax credits,
yep. The West Coast real
to move
estate.
your facility here.
Yeah, West Coast, East Coast real estate is ridiculous. So probably just Midwest is
Yeah.
because it's cheap. So let's just stay here.
Yeah, so I mean, like I get it. It's just like, why would anyone want to move there? It's so cold
You
9 months out of
wouldn't
the
either.
year.
You know why? Because it's the money. You follow the money.
Yeah, but like how I'm especially as a millennial now, especially through COVID, it's like, why am I going to move to Minneapolis when I can go somewhere else and work
They work
remotely?
remotely.
like
That is a good point.
why would I move to Minneapolis? Like it's that there's no incentive for you to do that. Unless
Yeah,
I mean obviously the money, if somebody's gonna like, hey, I'll pay you XYZ for you to move out here. I'm like, yeah, sure, why not?
exactly. That's we all
I
been most of us. So
mean, that's the, like, is anybody in the chapter actually from Minnesota?
I'm trying to think of that too.
I know nobody on the board is.
No, I think we're all transplants. We all just follow the money, and then we're all just here, and we haven't left yet. You have, but yeah. No, no, like all my friends, all my friends are here. They're all transplants. I have one friend from Minnesota here. One.
Is it a
Born
coworker?
Huh?
Is it a coworker?
No, it's like a friend from my grad school, undergrad from Iowa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but like that's no, sorry, two friends from Iowa, but like the rest of them, all transplants. I don't know.
Yeah, there was well at Cummins. There's a lot of folks that actually well, I would say work. There's a decent amount of people actually from Minnesota, but
Yeah.
like everybody that I know that was black was transplants.
Yep. I know one black person actually from here. Actually, they're all transplants. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. A little sad, but
I mean,
not
like
sad. Just
if you look at the demographics, it's just like
yeah,
most of the I mean, because like one, there's a huge international population there,
yeah,
and like I like most of the black folks that I did see in Minnesota were they looked like they were from uh East Africa,
yeah.
like
Like Somali
Somalia,
population.
Somalian,
Yep,
Ethiopia, Eritrean, and then some and the Nigerians are always everywhere.
yep,
So so
yeah,
yeah, it's just like you have like kind of that mix, and then like people that are actually born uh in Minnesota that like where they've been there for generations, very few.
yeah. Definitely. Generational wealth, like for Black people here, is not.
A
It's a
thing.
concept, I feel like I'm trying to create it right now with the same house. Generational wealth is going to be our our legacy of this house. I feel like it has to be because there's none for Black people in Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of places anywhere to be honest.
That's true. That's true. I think I just see like Minnesota's like the main example, but yeah, like Chicago, um, Atlanta, maybe.
I mean, yeah, Atlanta's probably like the only place where you see a lot. Well, that in the DMV, because you know,
Yeah.
because PG County in general just have the I would say from what I this was like a couple years ago, but like they had like the out of the top 10, they had like seven of the most wealthiest black communities. Was
Hmm.
that was all in Prince George's County in Maryland, and the
Huh.
reason why is because it's near DC.
Politics and stuff, like
Well,
politicians.
yeah, you got politics. Plus, you got all like uh the DoD branches because you got Air Force, Navy,
Yeah.
and Army all in that kind of area. Army not necessarily so much. There is an Army base in Aberdeen, but that's like north of Baltimore. But
Hmm.
you got the Andrews, Fort Andrews was the joint base between the Navy and the Air Force. Plus, you got the Naval Academy,
Oh,
in
yeah.
Annapolis,
Yeah.
not too far. So it's just like it's a huge. And then you got a NASA's there as well.
Oh, yeah.
So you have like all, plus, like I said, plus DC is there is right next door. So it's just like so many aerospace and a lot of technology companies and military defense companies that are all centered around there.
Yeah. That makes sense. The hub. Hmm. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Create generational wealth is that's my goal. So
Same.
and keep buying
I
those
fe-
houses.
yeah, I feel like millennials in general, that's like everybody's things. Like, how do I create that generational wealth? And
Yeah.
it's like, well, got to start somewhere. Getting a house is one of those things. It's the easiest way to do it, in my opinion,
Yeah. I think so too. It's
because you can just
accessible.
pack. Because it's something that you can pass down fairly easily. You're
Exactly.
like, all right, well, now you don't have to buy a whole house. At least you got
Yep.
something that's already paid for. Just
Yep.
paid property taxes and the electric.
Yep. Keep the house running, keep it
Yeah.
moving. So that's all you gotta do. Yeah.
Uh,
It's true. We'll see.
all right. Well, dang, this is a long episode. I
Oh my God, 7:45.
know, right?
I love talking to you, Tamar. It's so much
I know,
fun.
right? All right. Well, thank you, Bailey, for coming on the podcast, and we will be posting this up on YouTube sometime in the near future. But again, I really appreciate you coming on,
Yeah.
especially as new president, sharing your vision with, the chapter and the broader community as a whole, and just kind of what your vision of what NSBE TCPC is going to be about, and just and NSBE as a whole in your
Yeah.
journey. So really appreciate you coming on, and uh I don't know. Maybe I should have like joint episodes with like people, like have other folks from our board be on the Zoom call, depending on what the topic is, and be like, hey, instead of
Yeah.
me just hosting, we have
That'd
other
be cool.
people chime in and
Yeah.
ask questions, things like that.
That's a good idea. I can work with you on that if you want me to. I can like have some ideas too. But yeah, that sounds like a really good idea. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me also.
Yep,
So
no problem. Yeah, because like typically we only get that opportunity during GBMs, but like I think in
yeah,
a podcast setting where it's a lot more free, and like I said, we can, like I said, as you can tell by this conversation, goes
anywhere.
anywhere.
Yeah.
So that
I
could
think
be,
that'd be really fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
that should be fun. Yeah, I'll think about it. Uh, yeah, I just gotta have a topic that's gonna be. Yeah, I'll talk about this board later.
Yeah. Let me know what you need from me, I guess. But yeah, that sounds good. I'll support you with whatever you want to do. So,
Cool. All right. Again, good night, everyone, and look out for the next episode. See ya.
all right. Thank you.
No problem. Bye.